Welcome back to the Bethany Sports Beat, and we're going to talk men's and women's tennis at this time, and to talk about those two programs here on the campus. We're going to be bringing in the head coach, Andy Krueger. And Coach, you have one of those unique situations. You get a few matches and some practices in the fall, and then you have to take some time off, and all of a sudden you jump right back into it here with meets within about a week. How, as a coach, do you try to deal with the fact that you have that elongated period in, over the Christmas time, and how does that translate to trying to take those lessons from the fall into the spring season?
Well, we do it for a variety of reasons. The NCAA gives us 19 weeks a year to practice, and between burnout and just feasibility, taking advantage of good weather in the fall, it works to do some fall tennis. And it also helps the freshmen kind of start to learn how to manage classes and practice and meet their teammates early versus later. Just kind of getting some connectedness to campus right away. But what's really unique this year is we had a meet down in Des Moines against Grandview that was rained about just over halfway through the match. It rained on us. We couldn't find a makeup date in the fall, so we've got a makeup date scheduled this spring to actually continue a match that took place back in September. And so we'll actually continue that with our men and women, and then when that's over, the men are going to play them again because they're allowed another day of competition that the women don't have. But the men will play their men again in essentially a pseudo doubleheader.
So that's probably like the longest continuous match here in Bethany history.
It is. It is. Yeah, it is. We'll see. And one of the players, we'll talk about that, is not going to be able to play due to an injury. So we actually have to talk to their coach now and say the player that was slotted to play a position now has to be filled by somebody else. So
we'll worry about that in terms of the coaches, but it does bring up a point that early in the season here, with the rosters we have coming back, there already has been a little bit of an injury bug going on through both the men's and the women's teams. So obviously it takes away the potential of some seasoned players, but then it gives some of those younger players who maybe are going to take that experience they got in the fall and they're going to be able to use it right away.
Right, and it's one thing that's kind of unique. When I came from the high school ranks, every match had a playoff element of importance. And in college, it's a little bit different when you're playing the non-conference meets, unless you're, a top 20 team in the nation and going to run the table non-conference. The non-conference meets are, if we play some players to give them experience, it's a good thing overall. It doesn't, have any negative implications on the team if, a beginning or an inexperienced player we throw in to give them some match time.
All right. So accounting for those injuries, obviously we're going to be able to play with the players who are going to make it onto the court. So let's break down both of the teams right now and talk about the women first. A little bit of a larger roster this year, which is great, gives you some more opportunities and things like that. But who are you going to be able to count on as far as being out there? And they're probably going to be formulating either your number one doubles team or those top two singles spots.
Right. So we have four returners from last year, Alicia Kranz and Morgan Schwartz, who played a little bit together last year at some one doubles, and we'll probably do a lot more of that this year. Taylor Nordhausen and Justine Bennett are our other two returners, and they'll probably start the year playing together. We've got a freshman that came off a knee surgery, Megan Bratz, and hopefully she'll be joining us. I'm hoping by conference time, maybe catch a couple non-conferences in, and then she'll probably jump into that mix as well. I would guess probably joining Taylor at the two double spot to start, but we'll see how things progress.
And on the guy side, a little bit of experience coming back at some of those top spots, but some key freshmen coming in as well.
Right. Brent Heflin, a sophomore, he played 3 for us last year, had a very good fall, really impressed me. He's going to actually move all the way up to 1 from 3. Jake Kubler, returning for his junior year, 2-time all-conference player who had been playing 1, will be playing 2, and we'll see how that goes. That may change, but so those two will be good spots for us there. Then a freshman, Dalton Workman from Foley, multiple state tournament appearance player, will be jumping in to start the season at 3. Still figuring out the doubles yet. I'm not sure. One of our other injuries, we had the player in the fall. He won't be with us in the spring. So that we're not quite sure how that's going to work. So our meet against St. Mary's on the 29th might not look the same as the meet the next week as we see how that first meet goes.
And then your conference slate, when do you guys actually get pretty deep into the UMAC schedule?
We've got an odd spring this year. Spring break we take off, and then we're back for only about a week and a half, and then we hit Easter break. So we only have one conference meet in March. In fact, only one meet for the men. The women will play two, one a non-conference meet. So March is kind of just an odd year this year. So April is going to be packed. So we'll play, I believe, North Central in mid-March, and then we're off till early April, and then it's go time with a couple meets, 2 to 3 meets every week through the end of April.
And as far as the conference race goes for most of the team, obviously you were one of the surprise teams on the men's side last year, and you got the regular season vaulted all the way up to 2. But I would imagine once again, as it has in past years, Northwestern and Scholastica, probably the two top teams.
Right. I think with our injuries and Northwestern I think we can compete. Is it a given? No, not. And Scholastica still, I think hopefully they're phasing out. They've got a lot of seniors this year, and in key spots. So maybe depending on their recruiting goes, they could come back down to the rest of us possibly here next year. But we're still young. Jake Kubler is our only player that's slated to graduate out, and he'll actually play in the fall next fall. But this is his last season. Everybody else. And Jason Beekler will be out after this year, but most everybody is sophomore, freshman. So we still have some growing to do, and can take advantage of those upperclassmen while they're here, and then bring in our freshmen, sophomores grow. They'll be stronger. Women's team also very young. Morgan Schwartz is our only upperclassman. She's a junior. Everybody else is again freshmen, sophomores. So we'll get some growing done, and we have a non-conference schedule, I think, for them that they should be competitive in a lot of their meets, so that'll be a good experience for them this year.
And conference-wise, again, on the women's side, Northwestern, Scholastica?
Yeah, Northwestern 2 years ago won for the first time. That was a non-Scholastica women's team. In fact, Scholastica had not lost a conference meet until they got them 2 years ago, and then Northwestern won last year. Their number 1 graduated. She was the conference player of the year 2 times, but their number 2 is going to be fine at number 1. So those two will battle it out again, and then we'll kind of see how us, Martin Luther, Minnesota Morris. Last year due to issues they weren't able to field the team, so they're a big unknown this year in the conference. What level of play will they have? We really don't know. We'll have to start looking at their box scores when they start playing matches to get an idea where we'll fall with them. And North Central is a team that they came close to us last year, but they've improved a lot. So another one that we used to kind of be able to kind of sleep through there. One to also keep an eye on now.
So we'll keep track of how the Vikings bring up that youthful freshman class and how fast they can make an impact on the team and where that will land them at the end of the season in that UMAC conference tournament. Andy Krueger and Don Westfall here on the Bethany Sports Beat, talking men's and women's tennis. Glad you were with us. Keep coming back for more here on BLCVikings.com.